This story is a traumatic experience, but I will tell it. I still remember the night everything changed. It was the night the twins showed us who they really were. The night we saw the truth. The last words of Ijeku the chief priest was that they are coming, but help is here. Before he died on his way to Chief Okafor's house, no one knows what he saw or encountered. But before Chief Okafor could help him, he passed. The village was a lovely place to be. Everything was normal until two sisters arrived. They were not born of the village, but yet their beauty captivated all who saw them. Their names were Nema and Neka, identical in every way: long curly hair, dark glowing skin, and eyes that sparkled like a deep night sky, adorned in golden jewelry and flowy royal blue garments. They claimed to be daughters of a distant king, sent to bless the village with prosperity and wisdom. The village elders welcomed them. Chief Okafor said, "Bless the gods." Ijeku the chief priest said, "Help is here. Even in death, his words still come to pass." That evening, my mother, Amani, the old healer, visited Chief Okafor and explained to him that she felt evil presence hovering around the village. Chief Okafor replied and said, "Thank the gods, the gifted ones are here. They will help us. Isn't that what Ijeku said before he died?" Amani, the old healer, said something doesn't feel right about them. Everything seemed fine till they got here, and if I remember correctly, you were with Ijeku before he died, and you told us that he said they are coming, but help is here. It sounded more like the evil ones are coming, but Chief Okafor interrupted. "But what, Amani? Have you seen the princesses? They are the help Ijeku was talking about. They look like goddesses in human form." "Amani, you used to be our greatest healer, but now you are weak and tired. Go home and rest." Amani left Chief Okafor's presence. After all, she could be wrong. But now I know. The gift of the gods remains, whether young or old. I told my mother not to worry, because I saw the twins. They looked just fine to me. In no time, the twins began to whisper lies to the chief, his son, and different elders in the village, so that the villagers will oblige them. The twins fast became the talk of the town, as they demanded gold and jewelry, livestock in the names of the gods. The village, once thriving, began to fall into despair. Sometimes, the villagers swore they saw the twins as demonic spirits wearing black robes in the forests, performing some rituals. The whole place was in dilemma. Then it started with screams. Not loud ones, just soft, weak cries floating through the village, like someone was trying to call for help, but couldn't. At first, nobody paid attention. A baby crying at night wasn't strange. But then, babies went missing, one after the other. Yes, bad things can happen sometimes, right? But this one was different, because there was another, and another, and another. The cries came from different places, but they all sounded the same. Pained, almost desperate. I was sitting outside my mother's hut one night when I saw them, the twins, Nema and Neka, walking side by side through the village. They moved slowly, too slowly, like they were listening for something. Their long robes dragged behind them, and in the dim moonlight, I saw their hands, wet and dark. I thought it was water, but I was wrong, because it was blood. As they moved closer, it was as if they were changing into different demonic forms. And people began to gather in fear, trying to figure out what was happening. Chief Okafor stepped forward and asked, "Where are you two coming from?" They smiled. "We are helping, Baba." Some of the children were crying. The crying had stopped at once, like someone had pressed a hand over every mouth. The chief frowned. The villagers were gathering now, whispering. I saw my mother standing behind the chief, holding a wrapper tightly around her. "Helping?" she asked. The twins nodded. "Yes, we'll show you." The elves smelled, sharp and wrong, like burnt meat. Then, right before us, in the blink of an eye, the twins transformed into another demonic form. And before the twins, in the shadows, there were shapes, small steel shapes. One of the elders shouted, "Ah!" Someone let out a choked cry. But I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see. But I did. It was the babies, the missing babies, laid out on the ground like dolls, their tiny bodies cold and lifeless. And the twins were smiling. No one spoke. No one moved. The babies were lying there. Their eyes were open but empty. Chief Okafor fell to his knees, his voice shaking. "What have you done?" "We only took what was needed, Baba," the twins said. "We gave them to the spirits and they accepted." Oh, a woman wailed. A father dropped to his knees. My body felt frozen. The twins weren't normal. My mother was right. Amani the healer said, "I had always known there was something wrong with them. But this was worse than anything I had ever imagined." The wind picked up, carrying a smell of blood. Amani the old healer, my brave mother, stepped forward. She was breathing hard. Her hands were shaking, but she mustered up the courage to say, "You are cursed." The twins laughed. No, we are blessed. The villagers screamed and scattered as if they knew something was about to happen. "Spirit of our ancestors, give me strength." Nema and Neka, the evil twins, stood there smiling. Their eyes weren't human anymore. They glowed red, their pupils gone. Their robes fluttered even though there was no wind. You fear us. You've always feared us." Amani didn't run. She said, "You were never ours. You do not belong here." She lifted a small pouch from her waist and she blew a handful of white powder into the air. It shimmered, glowing like tiny stars before settling over the twins. They hissed like snakes. Their skin sizzled where the powder touched them. Amani's voice rose. "You have taken the innocent. You have drunk from the forbidden well. And I call upon the ancestors. Bind them." Some villagers knelt down, asking the gods to deliver them. The ancestors had answered because the twins screamed as fire-like chains held their legs, pulling them down. And just like that, they were gone. The ground swallowed them whole. The wind stopped. For a long time, no one spoke. Then Amani turned to us, her face pale, her eyes heavy with sorrow. "It is done," she said. But I knew deep down in my bones that this wasn't over. For a moment, everything was still. The village was silent except the quiet sobs of the mothers who had lost their children. I looked at my mother Amani as she grabbed her chest. The strength that had carried her through the battle was slipping away slowly. Her knees buckled, and before anyone could reach her, she fell to the ground. Chief Okafor ran to her side. "Amani, stay with us." "I'm sorry. You warned me." She smiled and said, "Nothing goes for nothing." Her breath slowed down and then stopped. I cried so much for days that I collapsed. I fell to the ground. My heart broke. Why me? Just why? My mother, the healer, was gone. My mother was gone. I couldn't help but collapse in utter shock. The villagers wept, but deep down, I knew the truth. The twins had taken something with them. A price had been paid. Days passed, and though the village tried to return to normal, things were never the same. I felt like I paid the ultimate price. The land felt colder. The wind whispered strange things at night, and sometimes, when I walked alone at night, I swore I heard laughter, soft and distant, coming from deep underground. People say the dead stay buried, but I know better. Not everything stays gone. Nothing is as it seems. The twins deceived us. I hope the village has learned from this.